All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're diving into the claims of a really fascinating product line called C14 Quantum Steroids. We're just going to walk through their own source materials to break down exactly how they describe their technology and what they claim it can do.
You know, for any serious athlete out there, this is really the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you push your body to its absolute limit, achieve that peak performance, but without paying that steep physical price that so often comes along with it? It's that constant search for an edge.
And that search? Well, it pretty much always leads to this huge crossroads, what you could call the athlete's dilemma. It's this classic risk versus reward scenario that has really defined sports pharmacology for decades.
So on one hand, you've got the undeniable benefits of traditional anabolic steroids, right? More muscle, more strength, you recover faster. But then on the other hand, there's this long list of really well-documented and serious risks. We're talking liver damage, hormonal shutdown, even cardiovascular strain. Athletes have always had to weigh these two sides of the coin.
So right into this whole dilemma, this is where the Si14 product line steps in, and they position themselves not just as an alternative, but as a totally different approach to enhancing performance. And this right here, this is the core of their entire pitch, stated directly in their own materials. They present Si14 Quantum Steroids as the way to get all the good stuff without the bad, framing it as a safe alternative to the traditional route.
So how do they make that safety claim? Well, it all boils down to this. According to their documents, these products are fundamentally different because they say there are no actual steroid molecules in them. No direct chemical or hormonal meddling with your body's biochemistry.
Okay, so let's really get into this. I mean, how can a product possibly claim to have an effect if it doesn't even have the actual substance in it? Well, the answer, according to their source material, is all in a technology they call quantum transfer.
So the whole idea rests on this one concept they call a quantum signature. They describe it as the unique frequency vibrational matrix of a substance. Think of it like this. Their materials say it's the informational blueprint of a substance, totally separate from the physical molecules themselves.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting, because they lay out this three-step process they claim to use. First, they say they read and pull out this quantum signature. Second, using some specialized gear, they transfer only this signature onto some kind of neutral base. And then finally, they stabilize this informational signal, which they say gets it ready for the body to perceive.
And really, that distinction they're making, that it's about information, not chemicals, that's the key to the whole thing. It's central to understanding how they say these products are supposed to work so differently from traditional drugs. This slide does a great job of showing the two different paths they're talking about. You know, traditional drugs work by physically binding to receptors to force an action. The Si14 approach, as they describe it, is all about providing an information template, which they claim just guides the body's own natural adaptive response.
Yeah, this quote really says it all, doesn't it? The whole idea they're pushing is that instead of forcing a change with some external chemical, the product gives your body a blueprint that just prompts it to optimize its own processes. This idea is the foundation for every single one of their safety claims.
Okay, so if the whole mechanism is purely informational, what are the benefits they're actually promising? This is where the companies suggest athletes can, have their cake and eat it too. Well, according to their own materials, because there are no actual steroid molecules, all those classic side effects just vanish. They claim no liver toxicity, no hormonal shutdown, no water retention, no negative mood swings, and no withdrawal or crash when you decide to stop using them. But this next part is probably the biggest claim of all. For anyone who knows anything about traditional steroid cycles, post-cycle therapy, or PCT, is a huge deal. It's this whole process to get your natural hormone production back online. So the claim that you don't need any PCT at all, that would be a massive, massive draw for anyone thinking about using these.
So, when you put it all together, what are we even looking at here? The company positions its products not as supplements and not as drugs, but as something totally new.
Just look at this table. It really lays it all out, side by side, based on what their literature says. For stanozolol, they're claiming they avoid the liver toxicity and joint issues. For metadinone, no liver toxicity, no water retention. And for halotestin, which is one of the absolute harshest traditional compounds, they claim to completely eliminate that severe liver toxicity and the mood swings.
And that brings us to the final label they've come up with for these products. They don't call them supplements, they don't call them drugs.
They call them quantum informational analogs. It's a term they created, and it's clearly meant to communicate this idea of getting all the power of pharmacology, but with a much, much safer profile.
And so, at the end of the day, we're left with the exact question their marketing wants you to think about. The entire premise here is built on separating a substance's effects from its physical molecules, promising all of the upside with literally none of the downside. Is this vision of informational enhancement the future of athletic support?